Welcome. It's such a nice class. Did you not get one? Does everybody have a sheet of paper? Okay. Excellent. So welcome to the class of 2027. Claremont High School counselors are here at El Roble today to begin registration. And in the room today, we have Mr. Anderson. He's one of our 6 academic counselors, and I'm Ms. Hebert. I also am an academic counselor.
Yeah, and we're being recorded, so we have to be on our best behavior. No.
All right, so this is the first step in helping you transition to Claremont High School in August. August 30th is the first day of high school for you. Today's step is helping you select courses for 9th grade. Tonight at 6 o'clock, there will be a webinar that we invite you and your parents to view. The information is on the sheet of paper that you have, and we're also going to show you on the website where to pick up the webinar link for tonight's 6 o'clock program. At the end of the counselor program tonight, Ms. Gosnell, the MYP coordinator, will also present information on the middle years program called MYP, and she will be able to answer questions if you have them. Your parents have questions too. Next, we're going to introduce you today to an electronic course form so you can make your choices for freshman year. We're going to walk through the steps together today, and you're going to submit today, but you will have unlimited opportunity to resubmit your requests, change your ideas, change your course plan through Friday night, midnight on the 10th. So we will go through that. Next week, you will meet your academic counselor here on campus. We're going to be in the TAC next week. Your PE classes will bring all of you to see your counselor in the TAC. We will go over the requests that you submit by midnight on the 10th, and we will go over your request to make sure you have, a good plan, solid for your goals, and if you need to make any changes, we can address that then. Okay?
And before we even get to this, I just want to refer to this sheet here. It has some important dates on here. So, when does school start? Anyone in here know? Next year? August 30th is right here on this form here. There's also some important information on the front. We send out a lot of information. I don't know how much information is sent out to you as 8th graders, but once you get to high school, you're going to get a lot of important information from the counseling department. One way you can stay up to date with that, because there's 2,400 students there, so we're not going to be meeting with you individually and going over that. So we send out mass communication through Remind. Everybody familiar with Remind in here? I know a lot of your teachers use it in here. Everybody has a cell phone, so use that Remind. It's CHS Grad 27, so your grad class, because we send out a lot of information that you do not want to miss. Also, have your parents sign up for it as well, because there's a lot of important information that goes out to parents that you do not want to miss. Also, it reminds you of the March 10th date on here, last day to submit this course request. Has some additional information on some possible testing that might take place for math and world language, July and August. So again, don't lose this sheet. All right, don't lose this sheet. Don't ball it up. Be out there tossing it at friends. That's what they do at the high school, so I'm sure they do it here at the middle school as well. But keep this safe so that you are reminded of these important dates and things on here that you will use. There's also QR codes on here that you can scan to get directly to this course request form, but we're going to show you how to access it through the website as well, and how to go back and edit it and change it as many times as you want. All right? So everyone needs to be at the Claremont High School website. The easiest way to get to it is go to Google and type in Claremont High School. The first thing that's going to pop up should be an opportunity, should say Claremont High School. So if I go to Claremont High School, Google search right there, you can come up that. That's not our campus there, at least not recent. All right, I guess it is. That's the solar panels.
Oh,
But if you click on the, it looked
it's a
like
feature.
Stables. But you should get to right here, Claremont High School. Is everyone there? Perfect, because we're going to do this all together today, and you're going to submit your course request today. All right, so you're going to submit and select all your classes before you leave here today. It's not final, though. As Ms. Aber mentioned, it's not final. We're going to have a presentation for your parents tonight so they can hear this information and more. I recommend you going and logging on to that presentation as well. All right, if you hear enough of me right now in class, you get to hear me tonight as well. All right, so no, but we'll go into more detail about grad requirements, college requirements, school start, a lot of that, because today we're just going to focus on selecting your classes. But log on to that tonight. So once you're at the website, everyone's here. You're going to go to these three little bars right here. All right, these three little bars right here, and that's going to bring up kind of the menu. All right, once you're at this menu page, you're going to click on counseling right here. All right, then you should see counseling department, career center. All right, everyone's going to click on the CHS counseling department. Is there anyone who's not there with me? Anyone need more time? Anyone need assistance? Don't be shy if you do, because we just did this with rising juniors, rising sophomores, and we have to walk them through it, even though they've done it 3 and 4 times by now. Everyone's here? Perfect. All right, once you're here, we talked about the webinar tonight at 6 p.m. that we hope all of your parents are going to attend. We hope all of you are going to attend. That link for that webinar you can find on this page as well, actually.
It's
if you
course
selection.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to go one more step to the course selection process here.
Just real briefly, guys, I'm sorry. This is the list of the alpha counselors at Claremont High School. Your counselor is responsible for making sure you hit your academic goals. Graduation, absolutely. But if you're ready, wanting to go to college, if you're wanting to do NYP, if you're wanting to do the diploma program, if you want to play sports in college, we need to know that so that we can build you the right plan over the next 4 years to hit all your goals.
Yeah. And you're stuck with your counselor for all 4 years. I don't want to say you're stuck with your counselor for all years, because you're all going to have great counselors. You're going to want to stay with your counselor for all 4 years. Now, I know even if you're unsure of your plans, all right, 100% of you, we're going to fill this form out. Even if you think that you may not be going to Claremont, we're going to fill this out anyways, all right? So once you go to course selection, this is where you're going to find a link for tonight's presentation. If you scroll down to Rising Freshman Webinar, Class of 2027, you'll find this link right here. So that's where you can go for you and your parents to log in at 6 o'clock to hear a more extensive presentation of what we're doing today.
If you could scroll up just a little bit too. Also, we're going to talk about this in a few minutes, but we also want to show you a little bit further up.
Sorry.
It's okay. More. There's a summer school form here also on this page, and we're going to talk about summer school now, not in a few minutes. So I just wanted you to know where that summer school form is.
And if for any reason you go home tonight or after the presentation and you're a little bit confused on what we covered today, or your parents want to know what we covered today, it is being recorded, and it will be there under that link as well. So sophomores, we recorded it. They can go back and watch it. Juniors can go back and watch what we did. So your parents can go back and watch this process as well, because it's being recorded and it'll eventually be shown right here. All right? All right. So now we're going to focus on your course requests and selecting your courses for next year. So everyone wants to go to the Rising Freshman course selection form. So it's right here. And we're going to ignore you already responded, because I did it this morning.
But it's an example of the fact that you can come back to this over and over again all this week as you make different selections for next year.
I believe the first thing you're going to see is going to require you to log in through your CUSD Google account. You can't access it through anything. You got to be logged in through your CUSD Google account. Is everyone here? Perfect. No. All right. We got time. Good?
Yep.
All right. So once we're at this page, this is actually the electronic course selection form. Couple of things. Remember, you got to be within your CUSB Google account. If you're all here, you've all done that correctly. These are just some links to some important sites right here. So this first one here, I will click on this link, but it's going to take us kind of back to here. There's some important things on here because when we get into it, so when you're selecting electives, so today we're kind of going through it, and I don't know how many elective options you have here at El Roble, but it's almost 10 times more that you're going to have at the high school. You probably haven't seen them all. You probably haven't had a chance. I'm sure you haven't had a chance to go through them unless you have some older siblings or students at the high school. You're probably unaware of what we do offer there, but we're going to be asking you to select 3 elective options before you leave today. Again, you can always go back and you can change those up until midnight on the 10th. But if you want to know a little bit more about those electives and do some more research and learn more about those, there's a couple things you can do. Number one, you can go to this CHS elective options, which I'll go to in a minute. The other thing is you can go to open house. Open house, you can visit a lot of these classrooms and the teachers and really get a better grasp of what's happening in those classrooms
This
as
Thursday
well.
night.
This Thursday. So I would encourage you to do that as well.
We're also bringing the electives fair to here on Friday, so and that is being promoted pretty heavily. So it's on your flyer. So please take advantage of the elective showcase Friday. That gives you still plenty of time to change your electives for next year based on what you hear and see.
Yep. So if we click on the CHS elective options, it's going to bring up a long list of electives. No, we're not going to go through all of them because as you can see, as I keep scrolling, there's more and more course options for you.
We just want you to be aware of all the options you have. This list is sorted in alphabetical order, not popularity. Do pay attention, though, that some courses are not available for 9th graders. Many are, but there are some that are for upper grades only. And there's a description of the course, so you can see what the course is. What is ceramics? What is visual arts? And you'll see a description of it. The other thing we want to make you aware of is some classes have an audition or interview for the class. So if you're thinking choirs, you're thinking band, you're thinking theater, they do have auditions. And then yearbook, AVID, and journalism too, or Wolf Packet have an interview. And you can see that information. We've also got a whole information section on auditions and interviews on the website. But as we get more into spring, we will be sure to make sure that all of you guys here at El Roble know about upcoming interviews. It won't be a hidden thing nor a surprise. So we'll keep the channels of communication open for you.
And I'm sure most of those courses and electives will be at the elective fair that will be coming to you. And you can meet with those teachers and students who are in those programs. And they will probably have flyers and different things for you so that you have all that information. But if you don't, or if you miss it, or if you forget, you can always go to this right here, auditions and interviews. You can breeze through that and you can see what courses require auditions and interviews, and you have a direct email, a link to the teacher's email. So if you have any questions, email that teacher. I'm interested in choir. Auditions are April 17th through the 21st at 3:30, but you know what? I play sports. I have practice at this time. Is there anything I can do? So communicate with the teachers about these auditions, interviews, if there's any conflicts, if you want more information about that, because they will make arrangements and different things with you, they could as well. So you have direct email, link to their emails for those auditions, interviews, or any additional information you might want on any of those courses as well. All right, any questions? Good.
Not yet? Okay.
All
We'll
right.
go back to the Rising Freshman course request form. And there's a summer school link embedded in the course request form. So if you do want to take summer school, we'll cover this in just a minute, but you can also find the link here, but also the link is permanent through May on the website that we showed you a minute ago. So please put in your student ID number. Your student ID number will transfer to CHS.
This information right here, it's important that you put it in correctly because you're not entering course requests in the student information system, all right? It needs to connect and transfer, and how is that going to connect? Through your ID number. So if your ID number is wrong, it might not filter into that, and you might show up on the 14th, 15th, or 16th when your counselor comes to meet with you, and they're giving you this blank stare as they go through and say, I don't have a course request form for you. All right, so make sure you enter that correctly.
Okay, so you've entered your ID, and now you want to put in your last name, and please make sure it's your last name indicated first. So your last name goes here, and then your first name. When you don't do that in the right order, it can slow down everything, and we don't want things to get slowed down for you.
Yeah, another easy way for your course request to be lost. I think I had 3 of them when I was dealing with rising seniors just last week because they put their last name here, or the first name where the last name should be, and it found it in some other counselor. All right. Sometimes we discover that, and we can find those with students that we know at the high school because we've been working with them for a few years and we recognize some names. But most of you, we don't know. And first and last names are interchangeable, so we probably won't find it. So again, be careful right now. Make sure everybody puts your last name. Everybody's done that step. Put last name under last name. Great. Everybody's put their first name under first name. All right, we shouldn't have any loss then.
Okay. Next, we're asking for a phone number. You can provide your parent phone number or yours. We just need to have a number so that as we are doing our part, the scheduling part, if we had a question, we could reach you or your parent. So either number will be just fine. And then the next question is, I wish to prepare for the following. Please let us know what your thoughts are. If you're thinking about college, write it down. If you're thinking about you want to work, you want to go to the military, indicate so. You can indicate all 3 if you're not certain, but this becomes a launching point in our discussions in the years ahead so that we can make sure that the high school gives you what you're needing so that you're ready for the steps after high school.
And you can select all 3 like I did here.
All right, next we want to know if you wish to participate on a Claremont High School athletic team and indicate yes or no. And then let us know what sports you're thinking about. Again, your hope, your thoughts, your plan. Nothing is a for sure yet. We haven't done all the steps forward, but if you're thinking about a sport or sports, please list them. It's a good launching point for our discussions next week with you.
And if you want more information about sports and what's available and tryout times, go to the Claremont High School website. Under that little tab, it says athletics. It has a little football, the baseball bat, the ball under there on that home page that we're at. You click on that, and then you can go to any sport, and we'll have contact to the athletic director. Right now will be someone different because they are retiring, so that name and number, well, the number will stay, but that name will change. But that's who you can contact, but most of those tryout dates and all those seasons with sports will be listed there as well.
All right. Next is a question about the International Baccalaureate Middle Years Program known as MYP. And if you're interested in the MYP, you will be able to indicate yes or no. And you can also reference the IB MYP course planner in that same box to get more information if you don't know already. At tonight's webinar, Ms. Gosnell, the MYP coordinator, will also be speaking and providing more information about MYP as well.
And just so that if you're doing that and you're doing that course planner, or if you're thinking MYP, just want to bring you to this. So this, when you select today, this is going to be the schedule for probably 80–90% of students, all right? Everyone's going to have an English class. And guess what? It's going to be freshman English because that's the only option. So everyone's going to select freshman English. Everyone's going to have a science class. You're either going to be in physical science or biology. Everyone's going to have a math class, and that's going to be determined based on the math course you're currently in. Everyone's going to have PE. Most students will have a world language. If you don't have a world language, this will open up so you can take an additional elective. And then everyone will have an elective option. If you are an MYP, your elective will be either psychology, sociology, or geography. So that really is going to be the difference in the MYP course selection than anyone else who's non-MYP. All right, and we'll go through all that, and it'll make more sense where you're seeing it. But this is the standard schedule for 9th grade students.
Question? So if the question was if you want to do a mix of MYP and AP, it's atypical for a 9th grader to be ready for AP unless it's AP language or AP math. But your counselor can talk with you next week if that is true for you, and make sure we get it.
And as we go through and we start selecting courses, it'll make more sense to you what you're limited to and what you're selecting on here right now.
Okay, so going back to our form, you're going to be selecting a start time. And you have two options. You can either start school at 7:25, and if you're taking a traditional 6-period schedule at CHS, 7:25 start would be a 2:31 exit from school or dismissal time. And that's considered 0 period, 7:25 start. Most students don't want to be at school so early, and most students start school at 8:30. That's our first period class, and then if you start at 8:30, your exit time would be 3:30. It is possible to take 7 classes at the high school, and that might be something you want to do or choose to do for MYP or other reasons. That means that your day would start at 7:30 and you would finish school at 3:30 if you had 7 classes.
The students at the high school, they're kind of familiar with this process and kind of understand, but I just want our rising freshmen to kind of understand. If you select 0 period, a 0 period start time, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get a 0 period start time. This is based on how many sections or how many classes we can offer 0 period. Is based on how many teachers volunteer to start and teach early. So there will be a number of you who might select a 0 period and you want to start at 7:25, but it may not be possible. So I just want you to be aware. Don't be upset. Don't think you need a new counselor. Your counselor doesn't like you. It's just not available for every student to have a 0 period start time. Most of our students will start at that 8:30 start time.
Okay. All right, so so moving on to course selection, everybody will be in English. So you'll fill that bubble for freshman English.
And there's only one option, just the freshman English, so that's there. So everybody has that.
And the next part would be math. So we've created a little bit of a guideline to help you select your math. The first question above says, what is your current math class? And you're going to enter your current math class. Do all of you know the math class you're in this year? So that's what you're going to select. And then looking at the graph here, if you're in Math 8 and you're getting a C or better as represented by the green arrow, it says passing. It may not be terribly clear. But if you're in Math 8 with a C or better now, then please select Math 1 for 9th grade. If you're in Math 8 now and you're getting a D, we're going to recommend that you select Math 1A next year. Math 1A is half a year of Integrated 1, followed by Math 1B sophomore year, which completes the Integrated Math 1 year. Question? So if you're currently in Math 8 and you want to accelerate, it is possible to accelerate. We will have to talk with you when your counselor meets with you next week.
Just skipping from here to here is difficult just because you're missing part of what they're currently getting now. But again, that's an individual conversation you would have with your counselor. When selecting your math, it's all going to be reviewed and based, again, a lot of that is going to be based on your spring semester grade. So it's important for you to finish this year strong here at El Roble because it determines your math placement there. And we always have to mention that to middle school students, because once you get to the high school, your grades do matter. Not that they don't matter at the middle school, but there really isn't any consequences based on getting a poor grade at the middle school. You're still going to go on to the next grade, the next class. But when you get to high school, you're required to pass certain classes with a certain grade. And a lot of those grades in those classes determine the next course that you can take. So it's important to finish this year strong, especially in your math class, because that's going to determine your math placement. So you can currently be in Math 8 or right now, and if you're struggling or failing that class and you select Integrated Math 1, those will be reviewed over the summer, and then you will be placed in the appropriate math course based on those grades as well.
Question? Talk to your counselor next week. We don't have that selection on the form, but it is possible with your counselor's input next week. Select 3 for today, and then we can.
So there's no options to skip on the form. So select what you would go into based on where you're at, and according to these arrows, select that, and then have that conversation when you meet with your counselor on the 14th, 15th, or 16th. Your PE class will be coming over, and you will have a chance to meet with your counselor to review that form.
Question on math?
So I'm at Integrated Math 1, and I have like a degree in it right now. So do I have to take a placement test to get into Math 2?
No, no. Well, you'll select it, and as long as your grades stay strong, you'll be in Math 2, 9th grade. Questions on math? Okay, so looking at what you selected for math, and our example here was Math 1, your math class does impact your science course for 9th grade. So if you are in Math 1 or higher as a 9th grader, you should select biology for 9th grade. If you are in Math 1A or readiness for 9th grade, you should select physical science. So again, if you're in Math 1 or higher 9th grade, select bio. If you're not in Math 1 or higher 9th grade, select physical science, please.
Don't worry too much about either or, because there's a year of a physical science required for high school graduation, a year of a life science required for high school graduation. So if you're taking that life science next year, which is biology because you're in Math 1 or higher, great. If you're taking that physical science because you're in Integrated 1A, great, because then that next year you're going to take biology, and the students who are in biology, that following year they're going to take their physical science requirement. Stay on track with high school graduation requirements.
Yes?
Which one would you choose if you're in Integrated Math 1 half? Would you just choose physical?
Biology, because 1/2 is actually 1/2. Just to go back a little bit on the math, if you are choosing Integrated Math 1-2 in 9th grade year, sophomore year is Integrated Math 2-3, and that means you are taking 3 years of math in 2 years. So you're doing a very accelerated pace. But if you're choosing Integrated Math 1-2 next year, please select bio. Great question.
So we should be at this point where everybody has selected 3 of their 6 courses, correct? Is there anyone who's not there?
All right, moving on. Everybody, please select that you're taking PE, because that is a required class in 9th grade. So please fill that physical education request. Moving on to world language. If you are wishing to do the MYP program, can I see some hands of those of you who are thinking about MYP? Okay. So if you're thinking MYP, you will need to think about taking a world language. We offer 3 world languages at Claremont High School: French, German, and Spanish. And we offer years 1 through 4 at the high school, so that if you start year 1 language at Claremont High School, you could take the AP or the IB course by your senior year, which is really mastering a new language, which is a really wonderful thing. We do offer the Heritage Speakers class at Claremont High School, and that's designed for students who either speak or understand Spanish from home, or maybe you had a living experience overseas in a country that speaks Spanish, so you have a really good grasp of speaking and listening in Spanish. Maybe you're not as strong with the reading or writing. Heritage Speakers is an ideal class for you because they will help pick up the reading and the writing more, and they move at a fast pace. Heritage Speakers 1 is a great option. And then you could take Heritage Speakers 2 the next year, and that gives you 3 years of Spanish language learning because it is really accelerated. Question? You can test into Spanish 2. Is that what you said? Spanish 2? It's possible on your circumstances, and your counselor can share that with you.
And on the front side, it says July and August. The dates aren't there yet, or on the back side of it. It says July and August. There will be some placement tests offered within math and world language. That will go on the website. And then you would come up to CHS. You will test with one of the world language teachers, and they will work with your counselor saying, you know, test it. Please move them to Spanish 2. So if you selected Spanish 1, you took that placement test or whatever test that they're providing, the world language teacher would send an email to the counselor and send student tested into Spanish 2. Please change their course request. Yes.
Please, thank you. All right, so.
A question in the back?
Yeah. No, you can start a world language at Claremont High School. Some of you I know are in a world language class here. So if you're currently in Spanish here at El Roble and you're enjoying it, you want to keep learning, then choose Spanish 1 for Claremont High School. Or depending on your level, Spanish 2. Talk with your Spanish teacher here. If you're having German 1 here at El Roble with Frau Sai, she is, and they're doing well, then you could select German 2 for freshman year if you are in German at El Roble.
And when we mentioned before, that is the typical freshman or enter 9th grade schedule. Most students will have a world language class just because in planning for graduation, planning for college, 2 years of the same world language is required for that college planning. And it does go towards meeting a requirement for high school graduation, but it doesn't have to be the world language. But most students, if eligible, current prereq right now is a C or better in your English class. If you have a C or better in your English class, you're open and eligible to take a world language. I would recommend all students, if you're in that situation where you got that C or better, consider taking a world language so that you can get that started, and you're leaving all options open for when you graduate high school with what you can do for your post-secondary plan. So definitely consider that. But there are some students, for whatever reason, may not meet that language requirement, do not want a world language. You do have this option. If you chose that option, instead of having a world language, this just becomes 2 elective choices, right? 2 elective choices.
All right. No questions? All right. So this question here is, let's say you chose Spanish 1 for your 9th grade class. This question says, if you want to explore taking French 1, are you cool with that or not? You would do the alternate world language. But if you don't want a different world language than the one you chose above, then leave it blank. We don't need an alternate world language every time. This is for the, sometimes it occurs that students are like, you know, I'm happy with Spanish, but if French works out, I'm okay with that too. That's why we do the alternate world language.
So everyone's chosen 5 classes, whether you're taking a world language. If you're not taking a world language, you went through the electives. Perfect.
All right. Next start is your elective, and this is really your 6th class selection for next year. And in the example here, our primary choice, our first choice elective is Intro to Video Production. It's a very popular elective, so we want to try to please you, but we do need backups in the event that it doesn't work in your schedule. So we want you to have a second elective choice or alternate elective choice, different from your primary elective, in the event we can't fulfill that elective request. So guitar is your second choice. I'd be really happy to play guitar at CHS. We do furnish the guitars for you. It's for any level, whether you've never strummed a guitar or you've taught yourself or you play. And then we want a third elective choice as a backup as well. And the example here is History of Rock and Roll, which is a really popular class at the high school, learning about music in the US and the UK for the past 60 years. Yes?
So I know you have to run for ASB to be an officer, but is ASB an
It is. It's under student council. It's not listed as ASB, but if that is your first choice, then you will choose student council. Back there?
Yep.
We're going to talk about that in just a second.
So this is probably this is the most difficult part of this form here. When we went through those first 5 courses, it was pretty much standard and everybody's going to be the same. Math is going to be a little bit different based on your math placement. And then the sciences was just one of those 2 options. Most, it was the world language, so you had 3 different options of the world language. But this elective piece, this is probably the piece where students are going to go through and they're going to change multiple times before the 10th. Number 1 is because you probably didn't know the long list of electives that we offer at the high school. All right. 2, you're probably going to go out and you're going to talk to buddies and ask them what they changed, trying to get the same thing that they're in. 3, you're probably going to talk to your parents and they're probably going to have some idea of something that they want you to be in. So this is probably going to change the most. What's important with this is that you have that primary, that first choice. Then you have these alternates because, like Ms. Aber mentioned, Intro to Video Production is a very popular class. So guess who kind of gets that first choice of getting into these classes? Seniors, then juniors, then sophomores. Then it gets down to that freshman level. So we hope that most of you are going to get your first choice. If you don't get your first choice, then we hope you're going to get your second choice. If you don't get your second choice, then we're going to try as best as we can to make sure you get that third option there. So it's important to kind of look through these and don't just choose them just because. Right? Because you're going to be in these courses for a full year. Our electives aren't 1 semester, so it's not like, you know what, Mr. Anderson, I tried this video production course and you come to me 3 weeks, 4 weeks and say, can I change? No, you are in these courses for the full year. So make sure you're going through and you're selecting these based on your interests and what you want to do, because again, that's going to be that 6th class and what you want you to have a good experience in that class throughout the year.
Okay.
So the question in the back, that if you are MYP, yes, this will determine your elective. So your first option is going to be one of 2. So you need to enroll in either psychology, sociology, which is a year long. So psychology for a semester, sociology for a semester, or geography. So whichever one of those is your first choice, that's what you would put in here. So for example, let's see, geography would be right there. And it does have right there MYP social science elective. Then your second choice would need to be the psychology, sociology, just in case geography didn't work with your schedule. That would need to be your second choice. Your third choice, it really doesn't matter because you're going to be in one of those 2 because you are MYP. So I would put one of those 2 again, just so that you're not taking like a spot of, I mean, it's not really taking a spot. I guess you can put anything. It's not really going to matter. No, so if you're taking geography over the summer, that's great. Now you just opened it up so you can do any elective that you want. So if you wanted to do MYP and you want other options, say you want to do MYP and you play in the band, and you want to make sure that you're in the band, and you took geography or psych social over the summer, now you have the opportunity for that elective spot into that. Or you can take a different elective if you do that over the summer.
So going back to the idea of 6 classes next year, English, science, math, PE. MYP students, if you're doing MYP, you're doing world language, unless you're in special education or you're an AVID, or you are an English language learner, then that becomes a different pathway, and your counselor and you will talk about that when we meet next week. But if you're doing MYP the traditional way, you would take your world language, and your sixth class would be either geography or the psychology, sociology option. But as was said, if you want to open up your schedule a little bit for ninth grade year, you could either take summer school PE. That really doesn't open up your schedule, but it finishes your PE. Or you could take psychology, sociology, geography in the summer to give you another space for a different elective, maybe an art elective or a music elective.
So we have about 9 minutes. 9 minutes for course request questions, just questions on the whole high school process, anything that you're worried about going over to the high school. We're here. Now is a great time to kind of ask any of those questions.
When you finish Math 2-3, that goes to pre-calculus. Or depending, most students do pre-calculus.
And we do offer, that's one of the summer school courses when you get there as well, like that we do offer over the summer for acceleration in that as well. So we do have several options within math that you can do. But again, that would be a question once you get there to talk with your math teacher and your counselor about that as well.
Any other? Yes. Yes, we do have a lot of extracurricular activities. So you can be in a theater class, but you can also participate in the theater. Additionally, there's speech and debate, there's mock trial. We have a lot of clubs on campus, and we really pride ourselves on the number of clubs that we have on campus. You can even create a club, and that can be a great way to meet people, connect people with similar interests, and maybe even leave a legacy behind you after high school. Create a club that survives after your grad year.
So on the website here, this is a list of current clubs that we have at Claremont High School. As you can see, this list is long, and there's a lot you can be involved in. And if there's something on here that you don't find or that you don't see, there's an opportunity for you to start a club. We will have what they call Club Rush at the beginning of the year in the fall, and that's a 2-day event where all the clubs will have tables around, and it's like a fair, and you can walk around and see what clubs we have, join clubs, talk to people in the club as well. So there's something for everyone to get involved in, and this is just on the club side, and there's a lot of school-sponsored activities as well. So you cannot walk onto the high school campus and not be involved unless you choose to.
Question?
So I have 2 questions. One, do you want us to sign up to remind now? Or?
You can, that'd be great. But we also want you to ask questions. We do want to make sure that you submit today on that form. So has everybody submitted their form? Okay. Are you worried that you don't have another opportunity to make a selection? You go to electives fair Friday and you see something and you want to change it. Can you change it? Yeah. Yep, you can do it every day.
And let me go back to show you how to change. So once you all finished your form, it should have said you submitted your response. It should have said form submitted. If you go back to course selection, right? If you go back to the form just where we started, you should see this here. You've already responded. That's what you want to see. That means it's done. To edit it, you just go to edit your response, and it's going to take you right back to that page. Whatever you want to change, again, like I said, most of you is going to be the electives, or maybe you wanted to do MYP, or maybe you decided not to do MYP, whatever it may be. I decided, you know what, I don't want to do Spanish, I want to do French. So then I have to hit next because I have to go to the end of the form, skip all of this because I didn't change anything, and I hit submit, and it's resubmitted with the updated course request. So you can go up until midnight, do that as many times as you would like to on the 10th.
We have about 5 minutes left. Open house is Thursday night. Please, we invite you to come see the campus. This is your future campus. We want to make sure you're comfortable with it. And then you will be seeing your counselors next week, the 14th, 15th, and 16th of March through your PE classes. And your PE classes will bring you to the TAC to see your counselor. Question?
And then for Interact Club, so we already ran for like officers and stuff. So would the Interact Club like contact you if you want for officer?
I'm pretty confident that will all happen because it's done through our student council. Yes, yeah.
To sign up for a club, do we have to talk to our counselor, or do we just talk to
So if you want to join a club, you are free to do so. You don't need to work through your counselor on that. But if you want to create a club, your counselor can show you those steps. All right. So with the remaining time we have, summer school. You do have the option for summer school if you wish. You can take, there's 3 classes available for summer school for rising freshmen. You can take geography. That would open up some space in your MYP schedule potentially. Or you could take psychology, sociology, same help. You could open up another elective spot for 9th grade if you wish. And those classes are available for MYP and non-MYP students. So we do want to clarify that. And you can also take PE in summer school. If you take PE in summer school, you could earn 10 PE credits. To graduate from high school is 20 PE credits. So if you did summer school PE and freshman PE, like all freshmen need to do, you'd be done with your PE at the end of your freshman year, which is a nice place to be. But you can also take more PE every year if you enjoy that as an outlet at school. Question?
How long is summer PE?
3 weeks long for 5 credits and another 3 weeks for the other 5 credits. And you're going to hear a lot about credits in high school because you need 220 credits to graduate from high school CHS. And we're going to go over a lot of that information tonight on the webinar. So we hope to see you tonight at 6. The webinar, where would you find the link for the webinar tonight? On the website. On the website. And like I said, we will be hosting a webinar at the beginning, and then around 7 o'clock, Ms. Gosnell, the MYP coordinator, will also present more information specifically on MYP and what that would look like for you for 9th grade. Any other questions?
No other questions? I mean, usually when we come in, there's questions about, but I know some of you, like I said, have siblings, others that went to the high school. How long is passing period? How is lunch? How does that work out? You know, it's a lot of things that are different at the high school, but not too overwhelming. I think all of you will have a great experience. You will enjoy it. There's a lot of components to the high school that I think work out for students that they enjoy more. We have an open campus. Yes, you as freshmen, no, you cannot leave for lunch. But that's something you can work towards. So you're a sophomore, junior, and senior year that you can leave campus for lunch. Passing periods are 8 minutes. We have a homeroom period currently midweek on the Wednesdays. So there's some differences in the schedule than that they are here. All that information is on the website. I think it's a great place for you to start looking just beyond going for the course requests, like going to the Claremont High School website. Just looking through some things and just getting familiar with everything on there. You can look now at some of the stuff here. We have our daily bulletin that similar to what you have here that you can go on and look right here. So this will kind of tell you what's happening at the campus. You know, there's a golf game today. There's a baseball game. You know, we have colleges that come to our career center. Biola is going to be there on Friday, but usually that list is long. So there's a lot of things that you can find out about the high school just by going to that.